Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his mind. His mind.
The Wigan Way podcast is brought to you by Cherry and White Pins, a local Wigan Warriors themed pin badge company with a variety of Wigan ranges. You can get free shipping on all orders when you use the code THEWIGANWAY, that's The Wigan Way, all in capitals, at checkout. Thanks to them for supporting the show.
So, we're back. And what a week it was. Lads, I know we say how good it is recording this after a win and the excitement of just winning a normal league game, it matters a lot. But is there a better feeling than being on this podcast when you've won the Challenge Cup? We'll ignore the grand final. Is there any other better feeling than this? And I'm excluding winning the World Club Challenge and league leaders.
Well, we're getting quite used to it, let's be honest. Well, since we started the podcast, we've won 4 trophies out of 5.
Mm.
I'm getting quite used to this. I could get used to it more, though.
Everyone loves winning. It's it's one of those. Everything was good about the weekend. Obviously, the result topped it all off, but we enjoyed the drive down. The weather was nice. Always seems to be sunny. Challenge Cup final day, doesn't it?
Perfect weather.
Everything went our way.
It was weird as we were driving down. It started raining on the motorway or whatever, and I was thinking, this isn't Challenge Cup weather.
No,
This isn't right.
Not apart from that one time where we beat Hull and it threw it down. Do you remember that one? Yeah.
But lads, back at work today.
Yeah.
How's it been these last couple of days?
Well, it takes a while to sink in, doesn't it, whenever you win any trophy? It's the culmination of a lot of hard work for a lot of people, and not really hard work for us, but money spent.
Miles travelled,
which shouldn't be overlooked. The dedication that takes, and you know, it's reward for having done that. It's what you want. It's why you get into it. It's why you start watching sport. It's why we play sport. All 3 of us have played sport most of our lives. It's why we do it. You do it for days like that.
Well, I'm just going to say, Matty Pete said it, and all the players said it. I think it was John Wilkin who said it before the game on the pre-match thing, that you get into sports for days like that.
Yeah,
to be in the big games, and it was weird that there wasn't a lot of massive nerves from players and people that are in the game, from Matty Pete and all that, because you do all the training, you do all the miles running and whatever for that day. Lewis, how have you been feeling, mate?
I've been feeling good. It was obviously a bit of a, like you said, the miles travelled down to Wembley. I think for a lot of people, and also obviously a lot of people did drive down. We drove down. I know, Matty, you did it a bit different to me, and Tom, you stopped over the night before, didn't you? But
yes. It
was a long day to get down and back up, so Sunday I was pretty knackered. I think like a lot of people who drove down and did it in one day were. But obviously excited, over the moon. Because people at my work know I'm a Wigan fan, so they've been asking me about it. I was going down, I was Wembley, how was your weekend? It's been the talking point of today. Telling everyone what it was like, so it's been brilliant.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Watched it back yet?
Yeah.
I think I watched it that night when I got back at midnight.
Yeah.
I watched it at 5:30 in the morning when I woke up. Watched it again Sunday night. I've watched the highlights 3 times.
Yeah.
I just can't stop.
I've watched it a few times as well. I've watched it all the way through. I've watched the talking, the build-up, the interviews. I've watched the game twice through. Plus when I was there, obviously. Yeah, I can't. You can't get enough of this. It just stays on your planner forever, doesn't it? You just roll it out when it's a rainy day.
It does. Back at Wembley, how does it feel being at Wembley? Like, been there a couple of times before, and I know people talk about it not being the old Wembley, but
for us it is.
Talking about being in the ground, I went in and I just ended up standing there looking round.
It's incredible. For us, it is. I mean, the way our dads describe Old Wembley, that is the way we describe New Wembley. Really, we never went to the old one, and I quite
You can't miss something you've never
No,
experienced.
I like the arch. You know, they talk about the Twin Towers. I like the arch. I like seeing it when I'm on the tube, going there. You know, I see. Oh, there's Wembley. I like Wembley Way, walking down, seeing it, all the different shirts. So we played a bit of a game, trying to spot as many rugby teams as we could on different shirts represented. And you probably came at a better time than me for spotting in more shirts, but saw loads of like friendly faces, loads of people excited to be at Wembley. I get it, it's not full. It's not full.
I love the neutrals. You talk about the different shirts.
Yeah.
You want to get neutrals at the game who aren't supporting anyone in particular, or they might have a team that they want to win, but their club isn't there, and they've come down because it's Wembley and it's the Challenge Cup, and
that's what we just need more of that. Because let's be honest, Wigan always going to take loads of fans. Warrington always going to take loads of fans, but we need more.
It's not enough to sell it out, is it?
We need the people who go every single year as a day trip, and people go to Magic for that now. People go to the grand final for that now, and that's fine. And obviously, tickets are expensive. Yeah. We're not flush with money at the moment as a nation, and particularly not as a working class sport. Rugby league is. We're not exactly flush with cash that we can throw about watching other people's teams playing a final. But I'd much rather it be at Wembley. I think this is only my opinion, but I'd much rather it be at Wembley and be 80% full, rather than be sold out at Spurs or in the north of England or at Arsenal or something like that.
I think it's good because you get the day out, which rugby league fans don't get. Football's a bit different. You can support Wigan Athletic and do, day trips because you're on the train watching your team away every week. Whereas you're on an M62 corridor, aren't you? As we talk about for rugby league. So, then some games you don't go to because like us lot, being obviously Thursday night in Hull is just a no-go for us of being at work on the Friday, and we can't book days off for the jobs we're in. So actually, the actual feeling of a day out, travelling down to somewhere where you don't go, you don't normally do days out for rugby league, really.
And you might not
that far anyway.
5, 6, 7 years. Your club might not get there for 10 years. Thinking about the last time I went, 7, 8 years ago. Obviously, we did Tottenham, but to not go for so long and then get the chance.
And we're stopping in at services and we're seeing all the different shirts because obviously there was 3 games that day, so we're seeing we saw a lot of Wakefield fans turn out. Wakefield showed up in numbers, saw a lot of Wakefield fans, Warrington fans, Wigan fans, those
loads of Leeds fans I saw
Leeds
for the game.
Saw some Cass fans, we saw like Hull fans, Lee fans. So
what was the most bonkers shirt you saw? Let's leave it to within the English pyramid. Let's ignore Australian shirts and let's ignore, community clubs. What was the most bizarre shirt? What are you thinking? What are they doing here?
The most bizarre shirt I saw actually belonged to our mate Johnny, which had a picture of Matty Pete's face on it with the words "completed it" written underneath it. I think that was the best shirt I saw.
I loved that shirt as well.
Week.
And a few people commented on that shirt. But I saw a couple of Cornwall supporters.
Yeah, I saw a couple of Cornwall.
Cornwall supporters in like pink and blue. Cornwall. Who else to see? Some North Wales Crusaders.
Yeah.
I love seeing amateur team shirts as well.
The community clubs.
Of amateur teams, community clubs turning out for go to the Challenge Cup final. That's what rugby league's all about.
I just want to say about amateur teams. When we were queuing up to get in, the Brixton Bulls, a London club, who were back in Wigan.
Brixton Bulls.
Brixton Bulls. Shout out to the Brixton Bulls.
First of all, how polite were they? And they were really good lads who were dead interested and loved rugby. They were all following Wigan because one of the lads who was there, he said his granddad used to play for Wigan. I didn't get the chance to get his name and talk to him because they were rushing in and whatever. But I just love that. I love the game being spread.
It's a good story, isn't it?
And nice to see amateur clubs down in London.
Yeah.
Like the game's spreading and we've got amateur clubs.
There's a day out. And I've seen a few people who were in the know of this sort of thing. Is that the community game is thriving. Absolutely booming at the moment. I don't know what it is. But post-COVID, the community game seems to be absolutely booming. And I like seeing all the different colours.
Yeah.
You don't see those colours in the professional game. It seems like everybody's got either red and white or, primrose and blue. It seems like a lot of teams are those sorts of colours. So I quite like it when you see all the community clubs and they've got the different colours and the different mascots and they're all a bit of a laugh, innit?
Yeah, definitely. Now, we tried something new this game. You might have seen it if you were following us on Instagram, and we'll give that another shout out.
If people aren't following us on Instagram, just want to reel off the Instagram handle very quick.
Very easy. The Wigan way.
Interesting. How did we come up with that one?
Well, we did a bit of a ask the fans before the game, thoughts and feelings, predictions, man of the match, try scorers, and again, being at Wembley, we got the chance to speak to fans of different clubs, and see what their predictions was. We also spoke to, and I forget his name in the moment, but he was watching his first ever rugby league game. Toby.
Yeah, he was so excited. I loved that video. He was really excited to see his first rugby league game.
I would say so. It took me to another level speaking to, because I was excited and whatever, but then listening to how excited he was, I was like, yeah. I remember being excited for my first Wembley game.
Also, he's a rugby union fan, right? He's a rugby union fan.
I think so. Yeah,
Rugby union fan.
There was a rugby union final. Was on the same day at the same time. Twickenham.
But watching his first ever rugby game, he backed Wigan.
Fair play.
he did.
He backed the winning horse then.
Yeah, and it's just that excitement about going down to Wembley.
I hope we've
He was
made
buzzing.
a lifelong rugby league fan, and I hope he goes to watch, whoever his local club is, Brixton Bulls, London Broncos, whoever it is. I hope he goes and watches them and gets involved.
You know what? If you watch that final, I wouldn't be surprised if he's hooked.
Yeah.
And thank you to everybody who did come on, because I know it's obviously a bit of an ask when you've got me and Tom just asking, shove a camera in your face and record you. And, some people are very polite and just said, look, no, it's not for me. And we said, that's fine, enjoy your day, enjoy the game. And some people come back and said, actually, go on, we'll do it. Yeah, go on, I'll feature on your socials for you. So thank you to everybody who did.
We are going to try and do that a little bit more often. So if you see us,
Let's try and do it at Cass, yeah?
Yeah, we'll try and do it on Cast
Let's
on
try and
Friday.
do it. Let's try and do it on Friday at Cass.
So if you do see us and you fancy going on, giving us your opinions before the game, you want to feature, grab us and we're more than happy to ask you some questions and get your thoughts and opinions on the game. So let us know.
Absolutely. Right, before the game, there was a moment for Rob Burrows just before Abide With Me. It was really well respected.
Well observed.
Well observed, that's the word I was looking for.
I think he sort of said a bit about Rob Burrow, and he said there's only one Rob Burrow, and everyone started cheering and singing and celebrating Rob's life. And then we had to realise actually we were doing a moment of silence for him because it had just happened so spontaneously that everyone was just cheering for Rob and trying to celebrate him, that we then had to just drag it back and go, oh, actually we're being respectful here, we're having a minute of silence.
Again, I think it only took 5 or 10 seconds.
Yeah,
people twigged and it just went dead silent.
And
Everyone respected it.
And once the referee blew the whistle for the end of the minute's silence, it erupted again of just that outpouring of love for Rob and joy. And I think even if all he ever did was on a rugby pitch when he retired in 2017, even if that's the last time we'd seen him, he would still be a legend. But all what he's done since then, since his diagnosis, and how he's brought the community together, and how he's brought the wider world outside of rugby league together.
And he unified the sport.
He did, yeah, he did, and it was great to see. It was bittersweet, obviously, because he's not around anymore. But it was great to see how loved he was, and yeah, I think it was handled really well that moment.
I think the whole organisation, we had the 2 flags go up at the opposite ends behind the sticks. That all went up, and you're helping it above your head and stuff. That showed an image of Rob from his playing days. That was before the game. Then the minute silence. Then obviously the delayed kick-off till 7 minutes past 3, and in the 7th minute of the game, all the fans doing a minute's applause essentially from the 7th till the 8th minute. I think
singing one Rob Burrow.
Yeah, it was just so well put, and that for me is what sets rugby league apart from other sports. It's not just wearing a black armband or something like that. I'm not trying to discourage that. However you play, respects is nice, but rugby league, we do go above and beyond for our own, and it does translate into a family atmosphere.
Even just the minute's silence, it's gone out of fashion, because you can never trust certain crowds to actually be silent for a minute. There's always somebody acting a fool. So that's why they have the minute's applause.
I remember going to a rugby union game for a minute, stag do, and again that was poorly. There was people in that were disrespectful and whatever, but
Which I find crazy because someone was thrown out of a rugby union game the other day for disrespecting the kicker.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to put him off.
But again, you do get idiots at sport events who disrespect things like that.
Not at this one.
Especially before the game, there was no feeling that anyone was going to do that.
And you think if they did, somebody would have put them right straight away because it meant a lot to a lot of people. This,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And obviously the 7-minute applause was brilliant. Everyone involved standing up and paying their respects to Rob during the game as well. Now, team selections before the game. We put out a team selection that we thought was going to be the team.
I guess.
It was, I want to say 95% right. I think we got Warrington spot on, didn't we?
We got Warrington 17 spot on.
And the one difference we had was we had Cooper on the bench and Liam Burns starting.
And we had Walters. No,
Walters instead of Cooper,
we didn't have Cooper at all. We had Walters on the bench and Burns starting. So we were 16 out of 17, you could say, for
Wigan.
For Wigan and 17 for Warrington. I do think a lot of that picked itself, but the big call was Mike Cooper. And why do we think Mike Cooper was chosen?
Well, there was two things I saw. Obviously, watching the game back, so I didn't see the pre-match stuff. How well Mike Cooper talks, and he's very clearly a leader. He's 35 now, I think. He's been there and done it. He's trusted. He's a leader among that group. When we were warming up, obviously they had to take all the flags off and whatever. He was the first one into the middle of that warm-up, getting everything set up. Just the little passing drills and the little wrestles that they do. Before the kick-off, he went down and talked to everyone in that front row. Obviously, you can't see me here, but he was pushing his hands down just to stay calm and breathe. When we'll talk about the sin binning and whatever, but when he came on the field, he was calm. He was a talker. He was the leader of that pack. When we came in the huddle before the kick-off, he was the one talking, he was the one leading, and he seems to be the vocal leader.
I think he is.
I know Liam Farrell isn't necessarily the loudest of people.
No, he's more of a leader by example, and when he speaks, you listen. But I want to take us back over 12 months now to you boys would have been at the game, the Good Friday game, where Harry Smith scored and Toby King scored, the game against St Helens, and that was the game Mike Cooper got injured.
Yeah.
And I was watching that one on Sky Sports because I was away. And you might not have seen this unless you've watched it back, which I presume you have, but in the sheds before the game, Mike Cooper was delivering all the team talks. I remember texting my dad going, Mike Cooper's turned into a real leader here. He's doing all the talking before the game. And then, of course, he goes off with the horror injury, and we think we might not see him again,
Well,
12 months out of the game.
Talking about that, what you got to remember, and I forgot this until recently, Mike Cooper signed on a 2-year deal, but it was for the 23 and 24 season. It was only the fact that we were able to get him early in the 2022 season that we actually saw a full season of him before that injury. And if he'd have come when we originally signed him, we'd have only seen 10 weeks and then that injury at Good Friday. And this was one of the seasons. People were talking that he might not play for us after that injury. But this was one of his contracted years.
Yeah. It was always a contracted year.
It's a bit weird to think that he signed for 2 years and everyone assumes that 2022 was that first season, but it wasn't.
No, that was just an extra 6 months on the beginning, bolted onto the beginning because, he was ready to come early and the whole situation with Darryl Powell was not great at the time.
Could that have been maybe a bit of a motivating factor? The fact he's playing in a final Warrington, it's his own club who he left on, a bit of...
I think he's a model professional, isn't he? I get that feeling off him that he is...
Bit of extra.
He does everything right.
I don't think any player for Pete's team ever needs any extra motivation. I think he's pretty good motivator, isn't he? He probably won't play a player unless they're motivated themselves.
Just to mention leadership and whatever, and culture behind the club. Matty Pete, after the game, mentioned about different types of leaders. And he said, I want different types of leaders. You look at Liam Farrell, he's not necessarily the biggest talker. From my outward view looking in. He's not maybe the most vocal or whatever. But you get someone like a Mike Cooper who seems to be a very good speaker and a very good talker as a part of that leadership group, and you get different voices in that changing room, and that's what we seem to have.
When we next go in, if we're invited back in, this would be something I would want to ask about the leadership group, who actually is in it, because I have a sneaky feeling it includes Cruz Lehman.
Yeah.
Because I think he's quite vocal whenever I see the
Former
team.
Leeds captain, isn't he? So that would tell you he's got some leadership skills to him. So he's the captain of a big club.
And he always seems to be in and amongst it and getting the lads, motivated. So maybe he's and he said he likes different kinds of leaders, like you've just said. I've just got a suspicion there that might include Cruz.
Harry Smith.
Yeah.
I think you're right though, especially with Wembley, you do have different types. You have your ones who, like you say, you lead through action on the field. And then you've got your ones, and sometimes, like a Farrell, like you say, in there, might not be the biggest talker. He leads through actions, he plays 80 minutes, he does so many tackles, he makes so many metres, he gets, tries here and there. But you do, Liam Farrell, he's got his vocal people in there, like your Mike Cooper,
You know what? You look at Liam Farrell, and he's the perfect professional at training. He holds the standards, and he has his own strengths. And you look at a leadership group; they've all got to have their own qualities and be the leaders in their own way. Before we get into the game, and I know we've talked for probably 20 minutes now, but it's not every day you win a Challenge Cup. What were your thoughts pre-game? How confident were you? How nervous were you? Because I'm not going to lie, Lewis, we were on the tube down from Watford. I thought I was going to be sick on that tube. I was so nervous.
You had some meat sweats going on.
Oh, I for about...
honestly.
No.
I looked at him just when you're in a bad way. You're Jukesy, you're dripping buckets.
For about 40 minutes until I saw the team. I've been fine all week. But for 30-40 minutes until the teams came out, I went into a really, really nervous.
I was also really nervous. I wasn't as bad as you, meat sweating, but I was really nervous.
Once I saw that team, I was fine.
I was okay. I was watching the women's Challenge Cup final, Saints and Leeds. I was thinking, Saints are winning this easy. And I was really relaxed. And then I saw Saints women go up and collect the trophy. Ascend to the royal box and collect the trophies and the medals and then come back down and celebrate with it. And I saw Leeds ladies looking at it and thinking, I really hope we're the ones going collecting those medals and collecting that trophy. I really, really hope we do it. And that hammered it home to me. I don't know why, but that whole image of ascending to the royal box and getting the trophy off Martin of Fire was like, we cannot let Warrington do that today. We've got to go and do it. And so there was still a good, I reckon, hour and a bit before the match even started. So I'm thinking, right, this game's got to get on now. I know you two weren't at the ground yet, but I was ready for kicking off. I get this game on now. I am nervous.
See, I'm a bit different to you two, because I know when we did last week's podcast and we were previewing it, you guys said that you get nervous. So as soon as we won the semi-final, you was a bit kind of nervous already about the final. See, my nerves, and it was the same when I used to play, it only kicks in when I'm there. Yeah. So even when I woke up the night before, slept, like I was not sleeping because it was a Challenge Cup final and I was excited and nervous, whatever, I was okay, quite relaxed. Tom comes and picks me up. We go, we're driving down, absolutely fine. As soon as we landed in O'Neill's Bar in Watford and we was having that pint before we then got the train into Wembley, that's when it hit me because it was like, I'm here now. I'm in a pub having a beer, it's do you know what I mean? I don't have the pre-game. It's only when I used to be the same when I used to play. I never was nervous days leading up to a game, but as soon as I got to the ground we were playing at, and I was about to walk into the changing room and start getting changed, that's when the nerves and stuff hit.
See, I don't know what it is with me, but I'm nervous, and all driving down, all I could think about was Dufty playing well. George Williams is playing well. I like what they've got going on with Danny Walker and Sam Powell, that partnership. They've got big props. Paul Vaughan, they could cause us trouble. What happens if we pick up an injury? What happens if this happens? And as soon as I saw our team, like I said, on the train there, I saw our team and I just went, Field, French, Smith, Wardle, they're worried about us as well.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think my switch for them too.
So I couldn't
So I couldn't see how we could lose it, and that might sound arrogant or it might sound whatever. But I was looking at our strengths, and at that point I was going,
That's your coping mechanism.
yeah.
Oh, well, I always thought if we're on it, we'll win. But then I'm thinking, right, get this game on. And then when it came to like 5-2, I was thinking, can we not play the 1895 Cup now and give me a bit longer? Because I was feeling so bad. This might sound wrong, but if you know me, you'll know this is true. I was way more nervous for this than I was for my own wedding. Like you weren't.
No, I was nervous.
You were nervous for my wedding. You didn't sleep the night before. But I knew what was going to happen that day. You know what I mean?
It's all planned out.
I planned it all out. I was involved. I knew how it was going. Saturday, it's the unknown element.
Yeah.
You think, well, we're going to have worked really hard for this.
Yeah.
But so have Warrington. And they're not coming just to lose to us. So I think, right, what could happen here? Well, could we get it? Could we get a bad start? Could we get a red card? Could we get down 18-0 all of a sudden in a flash with a couple of lucky tries? Those are the kind of things you don't deal with in cup finals and grand finals. You don't get over them. So I'm thinking, this could go really wrong, this. But if it goes okay and we play to how we can play, I know we'll win. So it's an interesting situation. I wonder what it was like for the Warrington supporters, thinking, did they think the same, or did they think, well, Wigan need a week off? Wigan need a poor game for us to have a chance? I don't know.
Well, just talking about that and going into the team selection, could we have a bad day with ball in hand or whatever? Thought it was interesting looking at our bench that he went for Havard, Byrne and Mago as the three props. And he could have gone a Hill, who's been a bit of an impact player this year off the bench. But he went Byrne and Havard along with our impact of Mago, and he went for two steadier props.
We had to get our defence right. We had to get our first up contact right. I wasn't worried about ball in hand.
No.
I knew we'd be okay ball in hand. Bevan French, Harry Smith, Jay Field. I knew we'd be okay ball in hand. I was worried a little bit about Eckersley's defence, I'll be honest. But I would have been worried about Kieran's defence if he was playing anyway. But with Nsemba, in that sort
No
of
new partnership on that
new
right hand
partnership,
side.
yeah. I was more worried about like the whole KR game. Our first up contact was all wrong. We were dropping off tackles, letting people score from inside their own half. I was worried about that because Warrington do that really well. So that's what I was more worried about. I wasn't bothered about point scoring because I thought we had points in us anyway.
Yeah.
We've always got points in us. We've got threats everywhere.
Yeah. Right. I don't know how long we've talked for here. Is it 20 minutes now?
25
minutes and we've not talked about the game.
25 minutes.
Let's get into the game.
If you've only just tuned in, this is going to be a long one.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. Kick-off. We were catching that first kick and I hate that.
You like kicking off, don't you?
I love kicking off just because I want to defend first up, be solid defensively. And again,
If you win toss, you choose to defend first.
Yeah,
I always did.
I agree.
I always did. If you win toss,
Because you can set the tone,
you
can't
say
you?
we'll kick off.
And I know
always
I know you can set the tone with a strong carry and a set where you're kicking on halfway or beyond.
but they can bounce back from that. If you defend so well, you can pin them to the 30 and go, you've got a long day coming out from here.
Yeah. You always defend first. If you win toss, you kick to them.
And I think Warrington did that quite well. They defended that first set really well.
Yeah.
And it was only our fourth and fifth tackle our third and fourth tackle carries. Cade Ellis took one of them where he made a lot of metres. I think he must have made 10, 11 metres. And he just got us to the 35 and we got a good kick from Harry Smith that probably made that first set balance out.
Yeah.
But it led to the first of 2 yellow cards. Mike Cooper's, I think it was Josh Eulis carrying it out, slips, and there's contact with the head.
Yeah.
But this is so soft. It is not a yellow card.
No.
I
I
get
don't
that
see
it's a
anybody.
penalty.
I don't see anybody saying it's a yellow card apart from the obvious Saints fans who want it to be a red card because they can't stand Wigan winning.
And the Warrington players who decided to throw their arms up.
Well, I think they threw their arms up in the air, but I bet once they watched it back on the screen, they thought, "Oh, it's just a penalty." The commentators couldn't even believe it was a penalty. In this day and age, I think it's a penalty, but I cannot believe this was given as a yellow card.
I'm going to say two things. It's a penalty under the current laws, but the game we grew up watching that's not even a penalty.
No.
It's completely accidental contact. It's not forceful.
No.
It's not a swinging arm. It's a
He's
genuine
got an
attempt.
open palm as well.
It's
I
a
always look at that.
it's a genuine attempt to make a normal tackle. Where
And there's mitigation because he's at his knee.
Of course there is. And when we watched it back, my dad went, "Oh, I'm worried about this," and I thought it can only be yellow. It can only be a yellow maximum. Shouldn't be, but it can only be a yellow
Because he's fallen.
because he's fallen and he's wrapped his arms. Now, Mike Cooper might get himself in a bit of bother for saying this, but he said the referee told him that it was forceful contact, and he criticised Cooper's tackle technique. And Mike Cooper said he never tells the ref how hard to blow the whistle. Don't criticise my tackle technique, it was fine. And when you watch it back, and I think the referee, when he watched it back, will have, because he clearly got information from the video ref to make this decision. I think he will think that probably, by the rule, it's a yellow, but it shouldn't be.
I don't even think by the rule it's a yellow.
When you've watched it back, are you able to hear what Kendall says to Cooper? When they explain why he's given a yellow, have we picked up on what he says? It's forceful, it is contact
fully.
with the head, so therefore it's a yellow, anything like that.
Because Jonathan Davis says he heard it from the video ref that it was going to be a yellow.
Yeah.
So I was more listening to that.
Right.
My thing is it isn't forceful.
That's all.
And to be fair, Brian Noble says this: show me a rugby tackle that isn't forceful because
Yeah.
you're trying to stop someone tackling someone.
Yeah.
It's not deliberate. There's no intent there. And as we see with the Dufty one, the referee backs himself into a corner that he has to then give the Dufty one a yellow.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of them are.
I agree.
No, both
But
penalties.
because he gives the first one, he has to give the second
So
one.
we should probably say, once this penalty is given and Mike Cooper is sent to the sin bin, remarkably, to the surprise of everybody.
Every
What?
yellow card, every head contact's a yellow card.
No, what I was going to say is Warrington kick the ball down the field and immediately play wide and get Roderick Tyne some space, and he feeds Stuartless. Now the ball ends up getting spilled. Did they offload it back inside, or
Wardle was going to put Thewlis.
he was going to put Thewlis in touch? Yeah, it was a
and
good.
Thewlis threw it inside. Marshall
Gets it and is clobbered by Dufty in the head.
But again,
Now, it bounces up off the ball. The first initial contact is ball first, then rides up to the head. It's a tackle we see often, and it's a tackle that is usually just a penalty. Because your first contact is the ball, and it rides up and hits him in the face. Now, I'm not saying tackling someone in the face is right, but it's not as bad as hitting someone, in the side of the head.
It's open palm. He's just trying to grab him. I always look at that. Look at your hands. You can tell if someone's trying to hurt someone if the fist is closed. If they come in there open palm, like arms spread, they're just trying to make sure that they either... Because you got to remember, Field's on his inside. And Dufty will know that. And he'll be worried that if Marshall can find a pass, Field might go length of the field. So, he's worried about that. He's just trying to cover every option. And he's been unlucky. And we've created a situation where we've drawn a line at a level that's probably not sustainable. We've said, this is what the yellow card line is.
You can't say head contact is a yellow card. You just can't say that because not every contact with the head is the same.
No.
These two were so different.
But he's backed himself into that position.
Yes.
And I almost feel sorry for Kendall.
So do I.
Because he's made the decision, and him and the video ref have made that decision. And
I actually don't think he got a lot wrong after this point.
no, I thought he had a pretty good game after these two.
I think there was a bit of element in it as well that he felt like he had to calm the game down. I feel like because he made the mistake of walking Cooper, which I think everybody could see was the wrong decision. Wigan fans and players got a bit kind of, oh, for God's sake, so that round them up a little bit. Then Dufty hits high. I mean, Matty P is not the coolest person on the planet, innit? And even when the box pans for him, he's in his shirt and tie, screaming and shouting. You'd all seen that off P, so you can tell everyone's a bit rattled with the decision. So then there's a coming together of players. I think Ellis gives Williams a push, so Williams grabs hold of him, so then Vaughan runs in for Warrington. And I think at the end of it, Kendall just thinks, I've got to calm this down some way.
I've got to put somebody else in the bin.
So I need to get control of this situation, or else it's going to end up flying. So he goes, right, you're going for 10 as well, as a way to say, right, calm down, because you're already down to 12. You're already down to 12.
It's the only reasonable option.
I think he's had to do it because he's almost...
This is the issue, though, right? That he's give that yellow card while the Wigan players up, because they've all seen it and know there's nothing wrong with it, that everyone's annoyed over a bad decision that he didn't have to give. It's not like, is it a red, is it a yellow? And one team think it's wrong.
Tom, I think they're being told to give these yellows. Not by the video ref, I think it comes even higher up than that. I think they're being told, give yellows.
So during this game, there was another penalty later on for a high tackle. Why has he not gone for 10? If that, whether it's trying to stamp authority on the game or whatever, there is not a single person in that ground who honestly thinks that either of them are a yellow card. And that's the problem, that everyone's watching it and saying, common sense is saying they are not yellows. There is no intent, he's slipping.
And we're not saying, like some people were saying, change the rule, relax the rules because it's the final. No. We're not saying that. That should be, if that tackle happens on Friday at Castleford, or in a game, what's a game that doesn't mean anything this week? London and Saints. Saints are obviously going to win whatever happens. If that tackle happens in London Saints, I don't want it to be a yellow card.
No.
And it's not.
It's not a yellow card, yeah. It's not a yellow card.
So don't... You back yourself into it. And then he's having to send Dufty to the sin bin to calm this game down.
To get control of it.
To get control of it. But what if Warrington should be sat there saying, well, that's not a yellow. They should be annoyed. Because you've caused it.
So he's almost unified the whole rugby league community by... Because if he just sent Dufty off, Wigan bias again.
Yeah.
If he just sent Cooper off, then Warrington would be biased, but he's brought everyone together and everyone disagrees.
And automatically everyone's looking at Kendall saying...
I don't think it's his fault.
I don't think it's his fault, but the refs, they're getting them wrong, they're making the wrong decisions, they're doing this. By giving something that he doesn't need to give.
No, he doesn't, but I think he's being told to. I think the message is coming that we need to give yellow cards for head contact, regardless of how bad it is.
We've already gone away from that.
I know.
In the last 4 weeks, we've seen it.
Common sense
like
common sense.
We said this on a previous podcast. It's the same thing. We make new rules, we put them in for 6 weeks, and then we just go back to what we were doing. And now it seems like we've taken a dip where we're going back to week 1 where we started giving yellows, and I don't get it.
Them two decisions
were
week 1 to 5 decisions. Yeah. They weren't what we've played to for the last 5-6 weeks.
What's the point of changing the rule after 5 weeks? Well, why are we doing that? Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
They've not changed the rule, have they?
But why are we enforcing rules differently after 5 weeks? You know, what's the point?
Because the idea, I get the idea behind it, that it's, we go big, everyone pulls themselves back to that level, and then we can just monitor that level. And it's like a reminder, it's a new start of the season, you can't hit high, so we'll go strict. I don't want to be funny. It's like in schools, in September, you set the law down and these are my expectations or whatever. And then it relaxes to a level that everyone's normal and everyone expects. It's like when you get a new boss at work and everyone's a bit stricter and I want you to do X, Y and Z, and then it goes back to a normal level that everyone's used to. I get it, but this was so out of context and so different to what we'd expected. It's why I think it causes so much thing. And again, it's a cup final. If Warrington score from that next set, and then that means Dufty doesn't get sin-binned, you've potentially ruined a final in the first minute of the game for a yellow card that should never have been. And don't get me wrong, I'll be sat here saying, well, we had to deal with it better.
Oh yeah, when he was sent to the sin bin, I was screaming, defend it for him.
Yeah.
Defend it for him when he gets sent to the sin bin.
But refs then and the league itself has opened it up to an option to sit for people to question whether they've ruined the game. And that's where I think what we're doing. By giving decisions, you're making yourself liable to say you've ruined it.
Yeah. So that 10 minutes where they were both off, just to move it on to some more action that wasn't referee talk, just that 10 minutes when they were both off, all that happened was Theolis took a 2.
Yeah.
It was just 2 points.
Mm.
When Cooper came back on, we had a chance to score. And because we were behind the sticks, I don't know what you two thought about this, but the Roderick tie where he dropped the interception, I thought, brilliant. We're getting 6 more tackles. It's a scrum in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
Duffy's off. Cooper's on. We'll score here.
Mm.
But then he obviously gave the ball to them, and I was thinking, well, what's he giving that for? Turns out it was forward. Now, watching back from a different angle, because you can never tell because it was the other end of the pitch, it was definitely forward.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed with our execution on that because I think we had a chance for a try.
Yeah.
But I also think Ty catches that, there's a chance for a try there because he's got Theolis outside him, or whoever was outside him.
I think the fact that he was forward just threw Ty off a little bit. If you look at where his hand is, it's like he's going for an intercept. And it's almost too tight for him and his arms aren't ready to receive it. And that's why we get away with it. I think if this passes backwards, there's every chance that Ty intercepts and I don't know whether he gets caught or not. I've not seen Ty in the open. I can't comment on how quick he is over.
All our speedsters were going forwards, let's just say. All our speedsters were on the attack.
Yeah, I think we'd have struggled.
I think we'd have struggled, but I don't know how quick. I don't know how quick.
No, neither do I, but he doesn't have to be lightning because, like I said, all our speedsters were flying forwards on the attack.
Yeah. This then,
Back to 13 apiece after that, yeah.
that 10 minutes, just to go back to the Ellers, Warrington losing Dufty and us losing Mike Cooper, who do you think that affects more? I know there's only a 2-point swing in it and it goes to 2-0 to Warrington, but who do you think potentially that affects more?
Them losing Dufty.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Fall back on the prop without trying to say nasty to props. They're not as,
Yeah.
someone, they drive and they make tackles, somebody else can do those jobs. A fullback going into the back of the line, linking in, numbering up defences, and having to get your numbers right in a defensive is a much more...
And also meaning Ty goes to the wing.
Yes.
You put a second rower into centre.
Much more reshuffling, much more of an important role in terms of the duties you've got as a fullback.
When you look at the 13 that we've got Cade Ellis, who then just effectively plays as a second prop, and you lose a man in the middle. It's not like you've got a ball playing, not a gritty 13. So I think we benefited from that.
Also,
along with the fact that Mike Cooper stays on till 30 minutes.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It just then means there's less pressure on your prop rotation because Cooper can come back on fresh. He never played any in the first minutes anyway.
And that just means then we can rotate a little bit better. The try scoring.
Yes, first try of the game.
Opened by Zach Eckersley. There was question marks. Would Sam Walters play? I saw a couple of people saying they wanted Walters to play in the second row.
Not for me.
Oh. And in the centre, or Farrell at centre with Walters playing.
Not for me.
Maybe if Willie Ice is fit, an experienced guy who's played hundreds of games at centre, if we're being honest, might have done it.
Still not for me.
But I wouldn't have.
I said it last week, when we let Ian Thornley go, we said, this is our man. Eckersley is our backup centre. We trust him. He's had 15 games, I think, at Widnes on loan. He's had 4 games for Wigan. I don't care if it's the cup final. He's 19, not 9, or he's 20, whatever. Get him in. He's older than Junior, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's played enough. He's a good lad, and he's clearly confident. He's got Kieran to support him all week. I think he'll have been confident. And you know what? I said it last week, and I said it in the bar before the game. I said, the 2 men inside him, inside of his left-hand shoulder, will be
supporting him.
Will be Jayfield. They'll be supporting him, but it'll be Jayfield and Junior December. And they are 2 of Wigan's biggest try threats.
Yeah.
In this situation, it was Bevan French and Junior December. Same problem, you still got two try-scoring threats. You're going to have a chance. Eckersley or Miskey, you're going to have a chance outside them. And it turned out to be Eckersley. Although I think if the kick was a bit different, Miskey might have scored as well.
But I want to praise Bevan French. It's not something we praise him for massively, his kicking game. It's not something... If you were saying what are Bevan French's big threats, you wouldn't say his kicking game.
Not necessarily, no.
But I think if he puts that kick more towards Miskey, it probably gets blocked by a Drinkwater or a flailing boot.
Watch this back. He kicks it over Drinkwater's leg. He deliberately chips it over Drinkwater's leg. He times it to perfection, and
He's
he
weighted.
deliberately chips it over Drinkwater's leg and weights it perfectly. This is a brilliant, brilliant kick.
I want to give Eckersley some credit here for this because about maybe 5-10 minutes before this, he takes his first run of the game and loses the ball in collision.
Yeah.
And knocks on its turn of possession, and I think that was his first real touch of the ball in this game.
Yeah.
So he was probably looking for, I think it was just a straight up drive, probably wanting it to settle his nerves and get into the game. And he ends up coughing up an error, and it's a bit like, oh no, and that,
Yeah.
what a horrible start, you know what I mean? It might have knocked his confidence.
First two people to run over to him after that knock on. Mike Cooper and Harry Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, he said the boys got around him. Yeah.
Mike Cooper had come back on. He'd only been on for 3 or 4 minutes. But he went over to him and said, it's alright, take the next one.
Yeah.
And Harry Smith came across the field. Just give him a little, stay calm sign.
We'll defend it for you. We'll defend it for you. And then Harry Smith, to get us into this position, Harry Smith put boot to ball and sent a spiral towards Matty Ashton.
Yeah.
What did I say to you, Lewis, when he kicked it?
I rate Matty Ashton, but he didn't have his best game. And Smith picked up on that and launched that one towards him.
And again, we went back to him. After he dropped that one, we put the pressure on him. And it was like, we've seen a chink there, he'll be under pressure, let's go at him. Rather than he's made one mistake, he's not going to make another.
He doesn't get enough credit for that as well, Harry Smith.
Yeah.
For his bombs, he puts a good couple of that wingers drop and, struggle with. I don't think he gets enough credit for it.
Miskey times the pressure well as well.
He does.
Yeah, Miskey times the pressure well. Because if Ashton catches that, he probably goes past Miskey and it looks terrible. Or if Miskey's offside, we've seen that before, then it's a penalty. It's a huge momentum shift then if they get a penalty in yardage. So Miskey to time that right, to time his run perfectly, and then also to put the perfect pressure on. Yeah, he did well. And fair enough. Harry Smith had the difficult part, but Miskey still has to do that effort.
Yeah.
Put the effort in to do the easy part.
Now, just with the Eckersley finish, I just want to mention it. What a finish this is. Because he's getting pulled back by Toby King.
Yeah.
And Toby King definitely goes for 10 minutes.
Ref said, no, I don't think he does, because ref said penalty try.
Did he say penalty try?
So
Sorry.
he wouldn't have gone for 10 minutes, but he would have given the try and kick on the sticks,
So to actually ground it and guarantee it and take any question away from it is a brilliant finish under pressure and to stay calm. Now, this is what Wigan do perfectly, and we've mentioned that we probably haven't got out of second or third gear going forward with the ball. We put points on in bunches, and it's only 2 or 3 minutes later that we score from the scrum. Bevan French. Typical Bevan French, big right foot step through a gap. Paul Vaughan can't get across.
Too quick.
But this was a disconnected Warrington defence.
It was. I can see why Toby King did what he did. Toby King's got
I think he did the right thing.
He got a lot of stick for this. There's no inside pressure on Bevan French. He does the only rational thing for a centre to do.
Because if he doesn't go out, French runs it in, and we've got a 3-on-2.
Exactly. There's not enough pressure from inside the scrum. Now, whether the answer is you break a bit early and hope the ref doesn't notice, or I honestly don't know what the answer is. But either way, there needs to be more pressure on Bevan French from the inside. Drinkwater doesn't cover himself in glory either defensively.
No.
But obviously it looks like what a howler from Toby King. He's let Bevan French step inside him. That's bread and butter for Bevan. How can you let him do that? Actually, it's not as simple as that. It's more complicated.
If King doesn't put that pressure on, we probably score or have a chance of scoring.
Yeah, we have a chance of scoring anyway.
Anyway, and people say you can't let Bevan French have that much time.
Yeah.
He's in a no-win situation there.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was helped out by his teammates. French scores, does brilliant. Harry Smith kicks this over, makes it 12 points to 2.
Yep.
Now, 10, 12 minutes later, big moment before half-time, was the no try of Bevan French's.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ben Curry. The Ben Curry crash ball.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Field cut him in half, didn't it? Field cut him in
Field
half.
and French.
That's when you want your big players to step up. They're attackers, really. French and Field are attackers. But we know Field's a good defender as well, and Bevan's a good defender. But for them to stand up like they did there to stop Ben Curry, because I thought it looked like a try. when Curry come crashing onto that.
Yeah.
Just cut him in half, and you could see on Curry's face he was smiling. He recognised that it was a good tackle to stop him. He was probably having flashbacks of Danny Houghton stopping him, at Wembley before. But fair play to Field and French for stopping this one.
Yeah. Now, going on to that, obviously Bevan French gets given a no try after this moment, and what I want to say before that is obviously it comes from Warrington throwing the ball out of play, and they throw the ball out of play from a scrum.
With about 90 seconds left.
With about 90 seconds left. There is a notice from Wigan players that before this scrum there's maybe a minute left of the game, and Warrington might try something to try and get back in contention. Could they try and get a try before that time? Field and Smith packed down in the scrum at second row and at 13. And French he's the third man in on our right-hand side defence. They've actually put December at the scrum doing what the halfback would normally do. Our left side defence, which is the way that Warrington end up attacking, they end up going to the right with Williams and Dufty. On the left-hand side, we've got Marshall, Wardle and Farrell in the line. And just watch, they know there's 60, 70 seconds left. Warrington could make a play here. When the scrum's played, Smith and Field, who were in the scrum, both make a bombing effort to get back on the almost behind the line to be cover. But so does Bevan French and so does Zach Eckersley, who's our right centre. Both put a sprint in as well. And we actually end up with Field, Smith, Eckersley, French covering that left-hand side as if they're aware that there's going to be a play, there's going to be something done, they might put it in. And we talk about it, and obviously Warrington ended up throwing the ball out into play. But they're the things that can go missing.
Unseen.
If Dufty makes a break there, there's 3 or 4 men playing as a full back to be there.
Yeah.
And I just think that it deserves a mention. But that it can go missing. And it's such great effort from players that aren't in the team for the defensive side of the game. We don't pick Bevan French and Field and Smith because they can defend well. But they do the extra bit just in case. And that's what wins you games like this.
Cup finals, grand finals, big games are on 2 things: effort and moments. I always think your moments, if you magic, your brilliant tries that you get,
your Bevan French,
and the efforts that don't get seen probably as much. They're the 2 things that win your grand finals. And
that's
cup
well
finals
said.
for me.
Yeah, that's well said. So what do we think then? We've got the ball now from the scrum. What do we think about Bevan's no try?
I think it's right.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
I do.
We said at the time there was people in front of us who were adamant, and I mean adamant, that this was a try.
I was adamant it was a try.
I think he does make a second.
Yeah.
I think
what do they call it?
He
A
promotes
promote phrase I was looking for. He does go down, it's terra firma, and he makes a promoting action to reach for the line. It's like he slides over.
His momentum definitely doesn't stop. He doesn't stop moving.
The double movement rule was brought in to stop people getting tackled and then just reaching out and scoring. Yeah. I don't think he's tackled at any point. He's still moving.
I don't think you can promote the ball, and that's
he
what
didn't,
he does.
Didn't even look at this. He didn't even say look at the double movement. He said as he dropped the ball.
This is where I've got an issue with it. Kendall give no try. Look at the knock on. Look at the grounding, which to me says
everything's fine
apart from that. So when he checks that he scored, Kendall should, in theory, say, well, the rest of it I thought was a try.
But they never do.
So then he's then trying to prove whether it's a double movement. He actually gives the try for the grounding and says the grounding's fine, but then goes back and looks at the double movement. And I think Kendall's actually waved that on. And he's almost said everything up until the grounding is a try. I don't think he's grounded it. Do you get what I mean?
I do, but I do think
that's
it's
too
rare.
complicated.
If it's a, I know what you mean. Kendall is not asking him to check for a double movement. He's asking him to check for grounding. But to me, if you're checking in grounding and you see another reason why it's a no try, then the correct decision should be given. Not
I agree with that.
Do you know what I mean? It is a double movement, but I can't give it
I'm
because
just
it asked
saying-
me to check for that. But I do get what you mean.
I'm just saying, you hear it all the time of, check the onside, offside, check the contest,
Yeah,
check this.
multiple different things.
I don't even think it's the point of that. I just think, had he said, actually he's grounded it, try, no one bats an eyelid. No one bats an eyelid at all. Because it's so quick in full speed that it is one motion. I think he promotes it as he's getting tackled. I don't think the momentum never stops. This is not what the double movement was brought in to stop. I think if he sends it up as a try, it gets given, no questions asked. I think he was looking for a reason. The longer he looked at it, the more he was looking to agree with the referee.
I'll give you credit here, Tom, because it's what you said, not me when I was at the game. When the people who sat in front was adamant that it was a try, you turned around and said, well, look, if he's having... The rule is, if he sent it up as no try, he has to be 100% conclusive that it is a try. So the fact he had to watch it so many times shows he's not 100% because there was doubt in his mind, so therefore he can't overturn the on-field decision.
I don't think video refs use this thing right.
They don't have enough power.
To overturn it, you should have to look at it through once ago. Yeah, it's a try. To overturn a non-field try, you should have to look at it once and go, yeah, he's definitely dropped it, not try. When you start looking at it 8, 9, 10, 11 times, you then go in, I don't know actually.
I think this was whatever the ref gave on the field was going to come up on the screen.
Yeah.
I 100% believe that.
And I'm okay with that.
So am I. I'm okay with this being turned down because it was sent up as a no try. Yeah. Because I think that
there's an argument for both cases.
He doesn't drop it. The double movement's 50-50 for me. I can see it being given. I can see ball carrying arms at the floor. If you do it in 0.25 speed, it looks like a completed tackle. If you do it at full speed, it doesn't look like a completed tackle. I can see it going 50-50. I'm happy if this is just on-field call.
Yeah.
And whether or not we stick with the on-field call as an option, or whether we say benefit of the doubt goes to the attacking team again, whatever we go with, I'll accept.
Yeah.
Because you can't just say, send it up to the screen, is it a try? Yes. Because then what do you do if you don't know? Because there needs to be something.
And that's why everyone's talking about getting rid of the on-field decision.
There needs to be something to replace it.
I find it really worrying that a ref could say, I don't know, send it up to the video ref, and then give his decision as benefit of the doubt, which means the ref didn't know, the video ref knows, I'm basically just guessing. I feel like the look at football and VAR's got its criticisms, but even with offside and onside, they give an on-field decision. They let the play go on, the team scores, and then the linesman may put his flag up because he thinks it's offside. They still make a decision on the field, and then they overturn it. I think you have to give a decision on field. That's my personal opinion.
If you do away with the ref's call, you have to replace it with something. You can't just have... Because then what do you do if there's doubt? Because there's always going to be, because we haven't got enough cameras and we haven't got the technology to tell if the ball's been grounded or whatever. What do you do if there's doubt?
For me, just go to the NRL. The ref gives his decision, and the video ref confirms, or the bunker as they call it, which is just the video ref. But either confirms it or he looks at it and goes, no, I think you're wrong, and disallows it. At that point, then it just looks like the ref's given his decision and they've checked it. But right, that wraps up the first half. We're going to take a quick break though, because this has been far longer than we planned on it being. It may be our longest ever episode.
I think it's going to be.
12 points to 2. We go in at half time, and there's a lot to play for in the second half. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back shortly. Thank you. So, the second half, a little 15-minute break. How are you feeling in that 15 minutes?
Well, I came down to see you,
Yeah.
which actually took my mind off it, because when I came back up, it was Warrington were coming out.
Yeah.
So I hadn't had time to be nervous. You know what I mean? I saw all the t-shirts, which were great. I saw that mate of your dad's who does that siren noise.
Oh, it's
That was
impressive,
fun.
that.
He made a siren with his voice to try and get everybody to go back to the seats to start the second half, and it was so loud.
How did you discover you can do that?
I don't know.
I love it though.
Brilliant. I like
Who
it.
was that? Which mate he had?
I don't even know his name.
I don't know.
I just see him. I know him as
Just-
Siren Guy.
He's just
Siren Guy.
So if you're listening, Siren Guy, well done.
We all like it.
You will liked it.
Second half kicks off. There was three. Was there 3 changes?
We took Mago off.
We took Mago off for Liam Byrne at half time.
Yeah.
Who was impactful. He only played 10 minutes, I think. Mago
Yeah.
was impactful.
He was hard to handle.
But again, with the fact that of the Cooper Simbin in,
Yeah.
it just meant that we could give some players shorter minutes.
And we were winning.
Mm.
And I'll probably say this more than once in the next half an hour, but we knocked it into second and coasted on, didn't we? On defence. And you don't really need Patrick Mago for that.
No.
It's a luxury that we didn't need. We got on top.
And again, Liam Byrne, who came off the bench, very steady.
Steady
did
Eddie.
meters, did his tackling, and just allowed us to rotate what you would argue our 4 best props of Havard, Thompson, Ellis, who 80-minute Ellis, and I cannot say anymore how good Cade Ellis is.
Oh,
and
80-minute
was.
Ellis, that's a good name,
If
that.
anyone ever questions Cade Ellis,
I don't think they do. Everyone loves him.
I saw a post on a Wigan Warriors supporters group that was shared, and it said like our unsung hero, and I thought, you know what, it is actually Cade Ellis. Maybe you could add Brad O'Neill into that, although he's starting to get a bit of credit now. Brad O'Neill, whereas he went under the radar early on this season, but Cade Ellis definitely.
In the biggest games,
Yeah,
Cade Ellis turns up.
yeah.
In the
Cade Ellis
biggest-
did 80 minutes, Thompson did 57.
But in the biggest games, in the World Club Challenge,
Yeah.
Cade Ellis was immense. In the Grand Final last year, in the Challenge Cup Final this week, Cade Ellis.
Semi-final as well, he had a big
Semi-final, you're right. Cade Ellis shows up
Yeah.
these big occasions. And we talk about Harry Smith a lot being a big game player.
Yeah.
And
He's
that's,
another one.
and that's fair. But what we don't talk about enough is 80-minute Ellis.
That's
Turning
a
up.
new nickname.
I like that,
That's
though,
it,
80-minute Ellis. Yeah, 80-minute Ellis.
I think his ball playing's improved as well. It's getting better.
He admitted this week that it's taken him a while to get used to that. And he's not a loose forward.
No.
Or he is now, but he never was. You know what I mean?
He played proper and he played a bit of second row, didn't he?
Yeah, and he said, first of all, he spoke about the weight of the number 13 at Wigan, which we've heard Morgan Smedes and John Bateman talk about before, following on from some legends, and Ellis has taken it on, and he spoke about how much that meant, first of all, for an Australian to take it.
Big thing being the first Australian,
We never had an Australian take the number 13 shirt. At
or
Wigan.
permanently anyway.
Yeah, not permanently. And for him to also speak about the nuances in the game that are different when you play loose forward, your ball playing. And he said, look, it was new to me, but he's improving with that, isn't he? And obviously you're going to get so solid every single week, 8 out of 10, and then in the big games, he turns up.
Yeah.
And he's immense in those big games.
Immense. But yeah, that just allowed us to that yellow card just allowed us to rotate them for Cooper, Ellis, who didn't have a break, but Havard and Thompson a little bit further. We got a bit more impact from Byrne and Mago. And
So do you think Matty Pete sees? I was going to talk about this later, but do you think Matty Pete sees his best 4 props, his big 4 props, as Cooper, Havard, Ellis, and Thompson? And then he's got
I'm just gonna.
he's got an impact 3.
I don't think he includes Ellis. Ellis is his
I think Ellis
13.
would be his 13.
Okay.
And what I'm going to say is, his big 4 are Havard, Thompson, Cooper, Dupree.
I agree.
And I think he'll play start 2, play bench 2. If he had everyone fit, and Mago can spell at 13 to give Ellis a little bit of a break when needed.
So that would mean that you're leaving out Liam Byrne if everyone's fit. Then that's the thing. Everyone's not going to be fit.
Not everyone's going to be fit, and Dupree was banned.
I like Byrne. I like him. I see a lot of hate for Liam Byrne. I see a lot of people wanting him to move on. I'm happy with him. He's one of the players that would probably be easy to replace if he did leave. I'm not going to say he's not. I'm not going to say he's irreplaceable, but I think he's really solid. I think it's unfair to throw his disciplinary record at him because
Last year, he led an injured pack.
oh yeah,
No Mike Cooper, no Ethan Havard.
That Catalan game away when we played in that teal kit, he absolutely butchered them forwards.
Was that the one where he
The field had ringworm and
he did all his nose? He did all his nose in the first minute.
Brilliant performance from Burn.
But playing with painkilling injections.
He was brilliant for so many games, and I think he's almost suffered from the fact that last year he had to carry the pack because there was injuries and suspensions, and this year we've strengthened our pack because it was a weakness. We strengthened our pack. We've got strength in depth, and he's almost like the fall guy for that. People want to see more of Esse. People want to see more of Chan. People want to see more of Harvey Hill.
Yeah. I think,
and they want to see that at the expense of Liam Byrne. I think Matty Peake rates Liam Byrne really highly. I think
I do. And I think the playing squad rates him really highly.
I think so. And yes, I agree. If everyone is available, I think he's probably just the one that misses out. If everyone's available, he's picking his strongest 17. But when in a season do you ever pick your strongest 17?
For me, Liam Byrne plays 20 games a season.
At least. If you've got 5 props, that's not enough. You need 6 or 7 at least, because you need to rotate them. You can't have the same 5 props playing every week. And if you're bringing Liam Byrne in from 18th man to rest somebody, what a replacement that is.
Yeah.
I think he's very much like a Ben Flower type prop in the sense of, he's not there to be a ball playing prop like, an Ellis, a forward, and I know he's playing a 13. He's there to play, 50, 60 minutes, make tackles, run hard, and set a platform. And so I go back to Ben Flower. That's what he did for many years in the Wigan shirt, wasn't it?
And you wouldn't have Ben Flower coming on to throw offloads and try and chase a game and scatter bodies. That's not his job.
No.
You never had Andy Coley doing that.
No.
It's not Liam Byrne's job. And that's why when we backed our defence and defended our way to a win here because we were up by 12 or 10 or whatever it was, that's why you saw more of Byrne than you did of some of the others.
Yeah.
Because that's his role. That's his job. That's okay.
Yeah.
People have different job roles.
And that's what that Wigan pack has. They complement each other so well. Should we move on to the...
Lockie Fitzgibbon went off injured. I actually saw Lockie Fitzgibbon in the M6 toll services the day after.
Nice.
Pretty bad limp.
Right.
I don't know exactly what's up with him, but if he was limping the next day... I mean, they'll all have been battered and bruised. Matty Nicholson had a cut on his eye. But yeah, he looked like he was limping. The whole Warrington squad were in there, actually, in the Warrington tracksuits, and they were obviously disappointed. They looked visibly disappointed, but they were still enjoying the time together, and they were still...
It's a massive experience.
With the families, and they were still... win or lose, you do it as a team, and you stick together, you spend the night together, you spend the weekend together. And I think they'll have got a lot out of that.
I think so.
If you lose a cup final, I bet there's a temptation just to all go off on your own. Or just go all on your own, or stick to your own family or whatever. Maybe ones or twos. But I think there is a lot of value in sticking together as a group.
When you're in your squad, which this Warrington side is, and they've got a new leader, and I know a lot of them were there last year, but a new regime, a new thing, there can be value in losing a final.
Well, you can't
if you learn from it.
You can't win them all, can you?
If you learn from it, there's value in it. If you walk away and go, oh well, we lost, it was against us, blah blah blah, ref cheated us, and I'm saying that in quotation marks, that's not what anyone was saying.
No.
But if you walk away from that, we come to know anything better, then you'll never learn from it.
No.
The fact that you listened to Williams and he spoke at full time about they didn't complete well enough, and they whatever, and Burgess talked about maybe getting a little bit overawed. I know we're jumping to the end of the game here, but you can learn from that.
Yeah.
And if you learn from it, that experience is worth it.
If we'd have said last year at Warrington going to a cup final anytime soon, how many people would have said yes? Do you know what I mean? It starts this season with a new coach.
Yeah.
If you'd have said, are they going to a cup final or a grand final or any type of final, most people would have gone, probably not. No, I'd put maybe other teams, Wigan, Saints, Catalan, Hull KI ahead of them for getting to finals than them.
Even Leeds.
Even maybe Leeds, do you know what I mean? So it's although, yeah, they have lost, but it's from where they were, not so long ago, it's a massive step forward for Warrington.
I think I know you said we're skipping to the end, but just on Warrington, I can see Burgess being really successful. I don't know if it's necessarily at Warrington, because there is that whole thing about Warrington not winning the big one unfairly, because they've won a cup as recently as 4 years ago. But
does he want to go back to Australia?
But if he goes back to Australia, I think wherever he ends up, I think he's going to be successful. I just as a head coach, I like him, and to be honest, as a captain, I like Williams. I think, and I hate to say this as a Wigan supporter, but I think with Burgess as coach and Williams as captain, they have a good chance of silverware. As long as they've got them two, they have a good chance of silverware. The problem is obviously going to be either or both of them going to Australia.
Jumping obviously, Bennett's been announced as the Rapids coach. He traditionally does 2 or 3 years. Maybe that's the time.
Maybe.
The Burgess goes. Maybe. Theoretical, but
you never know. There's always jobs opening up in Australia, and people get sacked all the time.
And it's good for the Seekers again, I don't know, but we always go back to this, but I want to see an English coach being successful.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I want good English coaches being successful and not relying on an Australian coach that come over here and take a club, like a Hull FC is relying on now or something like that. There's something about seeing a new up-and-coming English coach doing well, and I want that. Do you know what I mean?
Not being funny, Sean Wayne's not doing that England job forever.
No. I'd get a base in England set up now.
Yeah.
It's got to be some value. How much those Warrington players speak about having someone like a legend like Sam Burgess, to play for and stuff. I would get Burgess around that England squad.
If you want a middle step, if you were bringing back Origin, perfect Yorkshire coach.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Into the second half. Crowder picked up a little bit of a knock. Didn't want to go off. He wanted to run it off.
Yeah.
But
he had to go off.
He had to go off, and he didn't come back on, did he?
No, I don't think so.
Let's go on to this Liam Farrell try. Right in front of us.
Delicious. Absolutely delicious.
We were screaming him home.
First of all,
we were willing him over that line.
Pick a Liam Farrell try and imagine it in your head now, and it's this line.
Well, he didn't run backwards at any point.
No, he didn't.
If he ran backwards,
although he did over the line.
Did he go backwards?
He
kind of went a bit
backwards.
Spins usually makes half his metres backwards, though.
But just drifting outside of his defender. Jarfield. How good is this pass?
You can't explain how good this is.
Delicious.
There's something about he gets the ball early, and I've thought about this last few weeks. He's getting the ball early. He's not getting it the same as he did at the back end of last year. So keep an eye out on that. He's getting a lot of early ball on the left hand side, and he just skips outside of the wait, I can't remember the name of the defender, and starts running up Williams. And as soon as he gets Williams,
once he sees George's hips turn,
once
he sees George's hips turn, he gives the ball, and it's all lost then. You described that as delicious then, Lewis. It's the perfect word for it, because the timing was right, the line was perfect.
The dummies he throws,
he
throws a big dummy as if he's going to hit Jake Wardle early. He then throws a subtle dummy at Farrell, and then just pulls it back as if he's going to go himself, and just so softly. He almost just like,
if this was a food, this try, what would it be?
Oh.
I'm thinking it's something simple but effective.
Yeah, it is.
Apple crumble. Apple crumble and custard or something, yeah.
I think the thing that's, again, it's intelligence, isn't it? Because in a cup final, there's been an opportunity on, your kind of eyes light up, your heart starts racing, run here, and the easiest thing to do is just give the pass to Farrell and offload it very quick. But to have that composure to think, no, actually, I know what I'm doing here. Run in, draw the man, wait, hips have gone, hit it. And, the composure and the execution.
Everyone talks about how
he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
We all know he's lining. But he actually slows this down so much.
Yeah.
And he's just looking at George, asking him to just buy it, just come on. And he's just tempting him. Because Williams is worried. He puts that left foot down and goes through on Williams' left shoulder. And once he just draws it enough, everything's about speed and whatever. But to slow the game down so much, it's like he's directing everything.
The game slows down for him.
Mm.
And that's not because of his pace either.
No.
The game slows down for him because
Intelligence.
he's got the biggest rugby brain I've seen.
That's
for a
what
long
Lanigan
time.
said, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, and he studies it, he works hard at it.
Mm.
Yeah, really, really good. Really, really good. And again, you talk about composure. There probably would have been a temptation to throw the ball inside if you lean Farrell. Look for some support like he did in the grand final.
Yeah.
Because I thought he could have scored in the grand final and he offloaded. The offload wasn't really on.
No.
Not this time. And Wardle was trying to give him an option, but it was defended. Marshall wasn't an option either. It was really back yourself, Liam. Back yourself, try and get over and
But even if he doesn't, he gets tackled a yard out, and we're going to go shot.
Yeah, because Warrington's defensive line.
And
they're
again,
scattered.
Just look, you can see him already setting up. As soon as Farrell makes that break, Smith and French are getting close.
And I'm going to do something now I don't often do, which is talk about an opposing player making a bit of a mess of it. This is why all week I haven't listened to anybody who says Matt Duffy's better than Jay Field. Anybody. This is why. Yes, Duffy scored loads of tries this year. Yes, he's just as many assists as Field. Yes, they're probably pretty even in a race. And Duffy's electric. And he's playing really well. But there's no way Field does this attempt on an attack.
Duffy overruns this.
He
Allows Farrell.
He plays it all wrong. What? Even somebody that I always use the example of Bevan French's try that was behind closed doors against St Helens, where he made Lachlan Coote look a bit silly, or Gildart's try where he went around Ben Barber.
Yeah.
Them tries, you remember those tries? The fullback did the perfect thing and they still scored. That was just great attack. And I always say, Barber does the right thing. If you watch that try back, Barber does the perfect thing. And Lachlan Coote does the perfect thing against Bevan. But there's no answer.
Yeah.
Here, Duffy just seems to get the angle all wrong. He gets the angle wrong, he gets the timing wrong. He
shows him the inside.
He lets Farrell run too far.
My first worry is he's too straight with him. So he's give Farrell the option to go both ways. But when he makes contact, he's only 4 or 5 yards away from him. So even if he gets a good contact with him, Farrell might just fall over anyway. And it's a try. He doesn't... For me, he has to get up to the 10 metre line. Because then Matty Nicholson, who's backtracking, might have a chance to help him. Because he does enough just to slow him down and Nicholson can get involved.
Yeah.
But he's too close to that line. He's too late then. If that's 5 yards further up, then Nicholson can grab hold of him from behind, and that roll might not get into the end goal. And I'm not saying he definitely stops him, but he has a chance. When Nicholson can get there, it's too late. It's too close to the line.
I think I'm going to be controversial here. Warrington fans are going to hate me. I think he's soft in defence, Duffy.
You don't
I've
think,
seen it too
you
many
don't think
times.
you don't think he played it wrong. You just think it was a soft.
I think I'm not trying to discredit Farrell in any way, but I've seen it's not just this try. I've seen a couple one-on-one situations. It's almost like he gives up. There's no attempt to try and save the try. It's just like, if throws a loose arm or something. It's
I always ask myself.
He's looking like he's making an effort, but he's not. Is he going to put his body on the line for to stop a try like Jay Field did it for staff? And sometimes I think no.
I ask myself.
I agree.
No, I agree. I ask myself, would I be disappointed if Field at full back does that?
I wouldn't necessarily be disappointed if he'd let the try in. But
No, if that's Jay Field,
I'm disappointed.
I'm disappointed.
I am honestly.
And Field might get there early and get bumped off. He might do.
I still score. Farrell's, he's an expert in these situations.
Yeah,
Farrell
yeah.
might still score.
We've seen it with Field. And I saw someone comment that you should see Field's defence. I've seen Jarfield making enough tackles. World Cup challenge. Liam Tyndall at Thingy at home against Leeds, where he timed it to perfection and does the right thing. He makes a big try-saving tackle every 5 or 6 games. He made one in this game on the line. He shouldn't stop Lachlan Fitzgibbon.
It was Curry.
Ben Curry. He shouldn't stop Ben Curry. But he just puts his body there.
There's another couple he does as well.
And
There's another try saver he does in the second half. I can't remember who was running, but it was in the middle of the park again. There's another try saver where he had a bit of help from somebody else, but without him there, it's another try. Without him being strong in defence.
But credit to Wigan as well, because like you say, Fowler ran a good line like he always does. Field with the intelligence to pass that ball and release it at the exactly right moment. And like we said, to start it off with, delicious.
And Harry Smith, well, we had to rely on his kicking.
It's a good job.
Because Kieran was injured, was suspended, so the Warrington fans were rubbing their hands together on Twitter saying, "Oh, Harry Smith's got a kick in the final." Well, we didn't really need it, but of
I was
course,
just going to say, doesn't Harry Smith kick at the same percentage as Thewlis this year?
Harry Smith in big games, if he could kick over 100%, I think he would. In big games, Harry Smith just launches everything over the post, even difficult kicks. We didn't need it, but of course it was impeccable today in this game.
Perfect. Then Duffy's try.
Yeah.
And this is the best of Duffy, and this is...
I can sense £1 going in the jar here.
No.
I think it's £1 in the jar. Try this one.
No. Because it's on your feet. He's looping out there. Big left foot step, and he sees the gap. We see it from French, we see it from Field. They use that turn of pace, and you could call it eyes up footy.
You know why he's seeing the gap, Jukes? Yeah? Because he's playing with his eyes up, and he's seeing the gap, and he's stepped through it.
But at the same time, I don't want to just credit it to eyes up footy, because he knows he's on the outside. He's going for that corner, and he knows people have to commit to get out there. So yes, it might be eyes up, but there's also that understanding of, if I can get that left foot stepping, they might just slide.
I think, to be fair, this come off the back of Wyre's good shape. And to be fair, they had good shape for a lot of the game. Some of the lines they were running, the bodies and the attacking players were really good. I think where Wyre got it wrong, not on this occasion because they scored, but where they got it wrong in the game was this: it was too much. It was slinging the ball out all the time. And actually, in cup finals and grand finals, how many times we talked about 5 drives and a kick isn't a bad thing, completing sets, being boring, not be scared to be boring. And I think this occasion it come off and they scored. And I think we weren't going to keep Wyre scoreless anyway and keep it to 2 points. I think there was always going to be a try in this game for Wyre. But they did have good shape throughout the game. They just weren't prepared to do the other stuff for me. But it did come off the back of, like I say, good shape. And it was a good try.
So that takes it to 18 points to 8. Now I want to talk about Harry Smith again. We call him the General, we call him whatever you want to call him. He manages this game to perfection. Every play, every kick. I don't think he made a wrong choice in this game. Kicked the ball into touch when needed to, kept it on the floor when he needed to.
Kicking to corners.
He kept turning Warrington over, and there was a few people asking him for him to put a grubber in and we could try and score or whatever. And at 18 points to 8, he just kept dropping that ball in that 5x5 box on top of Thewlis and saying, you ain't going to score from there. You're not going to go 95 metres. We back our defence. And more importantly, you're not going to do it twice. And he just kept playing it over and playing it over. And if you're Warrington, you must be sat there saying, come on, we want to get out of here. Not again, I don't want to be starting from here. I don't want to be starting from here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be starting from here. Because it was every set. And if you're the forwards, the big lads who made them meters and made them tackles, and you're turning around to see, and I'm naming Thewlis because that's who he kept going to, but Josh Thewlis catching ball and getting hit within 2 metres of landing. got to walk back to my try line. How demoralising is that? That I'm going to have to take a carrier. And we might not make it to halfway line. And then you have to start playing early. And a few times it worked for Warrington that they threw the ball around and they might have robbed an extra 15, 20 metres.
It's all linked, this, though. Because Burgess in his post-match press conference was asked about Bevan French's performance. Said, yeah, fantastic performance, deserved man of the match, but Harry Smith kicked us to death. And I think that's right. Bevan did what he could do and what he can do because Harry Smith kicked us into that position. But the reason Harry Smith kicked us into that position, which he had to do, was because the forwards were on top. And I think one of the reasons the forwards were on top was because the three quarters gave them so many metres out of yardage and took the pressure off them from carrying. And then that also allows Field to do what he does. So I feel like it's harsh to single out one or two players because the cogs all worked and made the machine go. How many times did Miskey bump off the first defender and just run 10-15? Marshall off the back of that 10-15. Wardle off the back of that behind up 10-15. All of a sudden, instead of being 5 and 5, you're running over your own 40 on tackle 3. Then you can bring your big bodies forward. So those three quarters who got us out of trouble so many times meant our forwards could roll down the field, which could mean Harry Smith could then play off a dominant pack. And Harry Smith, as all good halfbacks do, all good scrum halves do, look amazing when you're behind a dominant pack. Because you know how to get the most out of them. And I get why Burgess has said that, because Burgess himself was a forward. He played every position in the forwards, Burgess. He played he never played 9, but you know what I mean. He was a prop. He played second row. He could play this forward. He's someone who will have thought in his playing days, if I can get on top here with my pack, with my teammates, my pack,
I can let the Star Boys play.
My general can kick us all to
Adam
victory.
Reynolds for most of Burgess' career.
And then, there's a sprinkling of magic there with GI behind. That's how he will have seen the game. And I respect that, and I can understand completely why he said that. But it almost takes out the job that he will have done.
Yeah.
And I get why he said that, obviously, because that's the way of us in this sport. We do tend to sort of throw the light onto somebody else. But I think that the forwards deserve a lot of credit. Yeah.
And this is why it's so balanced. You talk about Bevan French's flair. He can't do what Harry Smith does. He can't direct a team round and be so creative. You can't ask Harry Smith to boss a team and then be the flair as well. It's so balanced. You talk about the backs, Matty, and this might be a good time to just mention some of the stats and some of the standout things. Zach Eckersley in his first game, in this big game, first game for a long time in the first team, has been 18th man quite a lot, 137 metres and 15 tackles. Liam Marshall was phenomenal, 223 metres made. He made 95 of them post-contact. Abbas Miskey at 176. So you talk about the back three making so many metres. Field made 137. Brad O'Neill, he only played 55 minutes but made 36 tackles, most of any Wigan player. Just keep going with them. The Rowler. Cade Ellis, phenomenal, 117 metres and 33 tackles. Proper shift. Luke Thompson made 175 metres from 16 carries and 26 tackles. Havard made played 42 minutes and made 101 metres. Liam Farrell, 169 metres and 26 tackles. Phenomenal efforts all across the field. You talk about Harry Smith kicking it. He kicked for 434 metres from 15 kicks. Phenomenal effort. Well, you compare that to Warrington's leading kicker, Josh Drinkwater, kicked 167 metres. And it just shows how well our ends of sets were. We completed far better. Wigan completed at 78%. Where Warrington completed at 69%. We only made 7 errors. compared to Warrington as 15.
We were just better as a team, and every part of that team, every cog functioned better. And I've seen a few people saying, well, if you put French on Warrington's side and Williams on ours, we'd still win. Because French was put into position to do his magic, and Williams is good at that sort of stuff anyway, so he would have probably scored. And I actually agree with that. And I think, is there any player that we could swap, individual player, and affect the outcome? Maybe Harry Smith's the only one. And even then, I'm debating it. Because I'm thinking there's no one on their team that's got that long kicking game that he does, where off the back of a dominant forward performance, you can...
I think that's what they lack.
Kick to victory. I think that's the only thing they lack. Whereas I think everything else, you could have swapped and we would have been okay, because actually it was a good team performance. And I know Bevan French got man of the match and Lance Todd Trophy winner, well deserved. But I think it was a great team performance more than anything else.
There could have been multiple people that could have gone to, and you've gone, I get it. Harvey Smith got it, you think, fair enough. Cade Ellis got it, you think, fair enough. You know, there's loads of people that could have gone to where you think.
Well, just to mention the Lance Todd, 34 votes in the Lance Todd.
Yeah.
Bevan French got 25 of them. Looking at the other guys that got one, Liam Farrell got 3 votes, Harry Smith got 3, Cade Ellis 2, and Field 1. I do think he was the standout winner of the Lance Todd. Was our reigning Man of Steel. One thing that might have been a bit surprising, I want to hear your two's opinion on this. Smith going for the drop goal. 10-point lead. I was just a little bit surprised by that, because he obviously misses and that gives him a 20-metre restart with a 7-tackle set. But if he kicks it, it goes to 11. And Warrington have the chance to go short. They score, kick it. You've got a 5-point lead. Yeah, that means they have to kick both tries. But I feel like it could have invited a bit of pressure on, a bit of unnecessary pressure.
Hands was the play. I think he probably made his mind up that he was going for a 1. And if you score it, you get the ball back and you soak up another 2 minutes at least.
If you get the ball back.
If you get the ball back, off a short kick-off, probably. I think hands was the option here. Put it through the hands, even if you get tackled.
I think hands are a little grubber in behind and try and either pin him back and force a dropout or like.
I can see why we didn't, but the grubber was on a lot more than we tried.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the grubber is a good, because obviously, unless you make the mistake of kicking it too long and get a 7-tackle set, a well-executed grubber either means 1, you score, 2, you pin them behind their own goal line, you get the ball back off a dropout.
And they were flying up in defence as well.
Or, they do get it clear up, but you tackle them on, 5 metres out for their own.
You've got to run it for me.
So
for me, just run it, get tackled short of the line. You either score or get tackled short. The playing the ball 2 metres from their own line. But you know what? Who cares, because we won.
Yeah, it was.
I don't mind. And I do think as well, I think the time was running out for them to score 2 tries and convert them both.
Yeah.
I was almost thinking, towards the very end, they had that set on our line. And I was thinking, they passed one out to, was it Ashton? And we maybe scrambled a tackle.
Yeah.
And I thought, if they score here, the game's over. Because it was less than a minute to go. That's it. We've won, even if they score. But I didn't want them to score, because I thought, 10 points. We deserved a 10-point lead.
Yeah.
We deserved more than a 4-point victory, I think, or a 6-point victory if you missed a kick.
Yeah. I think the scoreline represented the game, didn't it?
Yeah.
We were 10 points better than Warrington.
So, that wraps up the game. 18 points to 8.
Yeah.
Bevan French wins the Man of the Match award, the Lance Todd. Fully deserved, I believe.
Yeah, I
Liam
agree.
Farrell gets to go and pick up another trophy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I really like from the BBC that they showed him?
Lifting all 4.
Lifting all 4. I think that's a nice sentiment and a nice point.
He wasn't really sure what to say about that, was he, Farrell?
No.
He said, yeah, I like lifting these trophies, but really, it's a symbol. Winning it with the mates is better.
Yeah.
And the fact that he gets to lift it on his own, I don't think he's quite comfortable with that, but he still does it, because he has to.
He won't remember picking the trophy up, but he'll remember sitting in the changing rooms celebrating.
Yeah, with his teammates. And I do want to talk about the changing room celebrations, but not just yet. But do remind me about that, because I do want to talk about them. Martin Afire. What was he doing up there with his pink suit on?
I love that suit though.
Well, the Warrington players, first of all, didn't all come up at the same time. So they decided there was still some medals left that they weren't collecting.
So
and
she
then
walked
the
away.
lady took away the medals and then brought them back a bit later on, and
When they were all stood there waiting.
they were all stood there waiting, which is terrible, standing right next to the trophy while you wait for your medal.
Let's have a look at what you could have won.
the bullseye sad theme at the end should have been playing when they rotate the bullseye board. But then up come Wigan to get theirs, and the lady said to Martin Afire about the trophy, she said, pointed to the Challenge Cup trophy, said, "Be careful, Martin, it's quite heavy." How many times did Martin Afire lift the Challenge Cup? I think he knows what it feels like to lift it, and pass it to someone else. Bit of a joke, that bit of a funny moment. Like, yeah, I've won it before. It's like that Cricket World Cup currently going on in America. Have you seen that person trying to explain to Dale Steyn how to bowl a cricket ball?
Yeah.
He's only got one of the most wicket-taking bowlers in the history of cricket. And they've got some person on a stall saying, "You guys have to keep your arms straight and overarm." Yeah. It felt like that, telling Martin if I had the Challenge Cup's heavy. Yeah, I don't think he needs to know that.
Mm. Yeah. So, obviously, get to pick it up. And I just love watching that. There's something so special about watching them lift it from the box, stood there at Wembley. It's so iconic, isn't it?
It is,
And Liam Farrell gets to add his name to the list of Wigan captains that have done that. Something that can never be taken away from him. He's been a phenomenal player for Wigan, and I think he's one that, again, it's very easy to overlook how good he is and how good he has been.
He's come under a lot of criticism as well, Farrell.
Yeah.
He's been captain. People say he's not a leader. He's a good player, but he's not a leader, and he's not a captain and stuff like that. And I disagree with that. Like we said before, I think there's different ways you can lead, and Liam Farrell's definitely someone who leads by example on the field, isn't he? You get an 8 out of 10 out of him every single game.
Can I ask something? Liam Farrell already goes down as one of Wigan's greats.
He'll be in Wigan Warriors Hall of Fame.
4 Challenge Cups, 4 league leaders, 5 grand finals, and 2 World Club challenges. 4 of them in 18 months as club captain.
He's not finished.
And he's not finished. They look hungry for more.
Yeah.
He has every right and every potential to go down in Wigan Hall of Fame as
He'll be in the Hall of Fame.
as
Absolute no-brainer Hall of Fame for me. He's lifted, actually, the Challenge Cup as many times as Sean O'Loughlin.
Yeah.
Twice each they've got now.
Yeah.
So he's got him up there. Like I said, hungry for more. Like I was saying before about Byrne, I think part of the reason Farrell gets so much stick is because people always want the shiny new toy. People always want... They want Walters to play. They want December to play. They want the new item.
And the story always changes, because then when they have a bad game, it'll be, well, why are the kids out? They're too young. We need to get the experience back in. So,
and obviously we're missing a heap of experience with Willie Isa.
Yeah.
Big game player who loves the big moments, who relishes that, who is a leader, an excellent defender. Like Willie would have been perfect for this game, and it's not to be. And looking at him hobble around the pitch there, it's quite sad. I'm not sure we'll see him again this year. He's off contract. What do we do with Willie Isa? Is he finishing? I
think he'll stay around.
Yeah.
I hope he does.
I hope he does. And he's obviously a very, very valued member of this team. And you could see with he arranged all the flags in the dressing room.
he did.
Yeah, and the heritage and what that meant to the players. I think they would have taken a lot from that. And for somebody like Willie to have that responsibility, I think meant a lot. And I'm really pleased for him that he was around for this one. I'm pleased for Adam Kieran that he was around and he got to lift the trophy. Eckersley gave him the trophy lift on the homecoming, and Eckersley said he'd been really good with him.
Pete said he was very happy, not just with the squad who played, but everybody else. And he mentioned about Willie Isa sorting out the flags and doing a bit of a speech about what the flags meant and what heritage meant and why this game was important to him, even though he wasn't playing in it. Apparently, Kieran has done a lot of work with Eckersley through the week in preparation for that. I mean, they took him under his wing, knowing that he was going to take his place.
Yeah.
So Pete was very, very thankful lads who wasn't playing as well in the role they played in the week leading up to this game. So it seems like a real squad mentality. There wasn't any kind of, I'm not playing. It was, we all chip in and we're all going to do our bit, whether on the field, whether we're not, to make sure this trophy comes back to Robin Park, which is lovely to see.
Yeah. One player I do want to mention again, that his phenomenal record carries on, Brad O'Neill.
Yeah.
63 games for Wigan. He's not even 22 yet. 2 Challenge Cups, a Grand Final, League Leaders and a World Cup Challenge. He debuted in 2022. Starting to get the recognition he deserves. Another brilliant performance. But him and Cruz Lehman starting to develop that partnership. 2 very different options. And I just think, again, got to be a bit of credit there for Matty Pete for bringing in Lehman. But he trusts Brad O'Neill. His defensive work's phenomenal. And he is a player that he's playing out of his skin at the moment.
He is, yeah. He is.
It's like Matty said before, you use him in different situations. If you're cruising in second gear back in your defence, O'Neill's on every day of the week. If you're 10 minutes before half time and you're looking for a bit of a spurt before half time, maybe get a try, but turn the game in your favour before you go into half time.
Or even just to stretch out
extend
the
the
lead.
lead or something like that, you throw Lehman on and he gives you a bit of spark out and then he's backing up through the middle all the time, got a couple of tries from backing up this year already, hasn't he? So, yeah, I suppose we've got 2 different teams almost. Not that one is better than the other, just 2 teams doing a bit of a different philosophy, if you like, when they come on.
Yeah. Right. I think that wraps up our review of the
Just about.
Challenge Cup. Anyone else got anything else to say?
No, let's have some more.
Let's hopefully more success and hopefully all the listeners enjoyed it just as much as we did. They had a cracking day out in the capital.
Yeah. Could have been good going to the capital for the cup final. I hope they don't move it from London.
No.
Even if it moves out to Wembley, I hope they keep it in London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big day out, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, we'll be back after the break. Just to talk a little bit about State of Origin and do some predictions for next week. Thank you for listening.
Okay, we're back for our final segment of the day, and we're going to bring back an old segment that we used to love, the Eyecatchers segment. We used to do it right at the very beginning, and we've got about a minute each to bring forward something that's caught our eye, usually in the world of rugby league, although Tom's going to go off script in a minute because I know he's Eyecatcher. But Tom, what's your Eyecatcher for this week?
So, it's possibly a tackle of the season contender in the French Rugby Union, top 14. Castres went on to win the game 28-17 against Bayonne. But Castres make a break down the winger Leone Nakawa. Pretty big lad. Flying down the wing. Camille Lopez doesn't really fancy tackling him. Makes possibly the worst dive I've ever seen. Goes for a 2-handed tag on the back of the winger. Flips over. Ends up in touch. And it's just going to go down as the worst tackle attempt I've ever seen.
It was like he was playing 2-handed tag.
Yeah, I'm going to retweet it so everyone can see it. It's a shocker. It's bad. That's mine. Matty, what are you thinking, mate?
I'm going to go for a try assist in the NRL. Lionel Richie, as my dad calls him, for the New Zealand Warriors. Dallin Watini-Zelezniak. He's chasing a kick from Nickel Clockstar, and it's going out to play. He dives. If it was in this country, he'd have been on the 4th or 5th row because of how close the fans are. But he knocks it back in, and the kicker, Nickel Clockstar, actually touches it down. So an amazing piece of agility, athleticism that we sometimes see in cricket with like diving catches over the boundary and throwing it back in. That sort of skill that we don't tend to see over in this country. But yeah, good stuff from Dallin there.
It's brilliant. The athleticism in rugby is usually diving in at the corner, not to pat the ball back in. Lewis, what's your eye catcher this week? What's the thing that you've spotted?
A bit of news caught my eye this week, which is that the Salford director of rugby, Ian Blease, has moved over to Leeds. Which I think begs a couple of questions in the rugby league world of where does Salford go from here? Where does this leave Salford as a bit of a club moving forward? We're no director of rugby as of yet.
He's done a good job, hasn't he?
He has. What does the future hold for Paul Rowley? Will he want to, he has committed to Salford. He did have other offers coming his way, but then they've got rid of the director of rugby. Will Paul Rowley, be a fan of this? You want that stability over you as the coach, don't you, of the running of the club? So
he's done a really good job at Salford in a very difficult time.
Mm.
And I'm going to be really interested to see how he does with a little bit more financial backing and a little bit more stability at Leeds.
It was also probably the time for Hetherington to hand over to a director of rugby.
Yeah.
The sort of the operational side of it. So, good move for Leeds. Good move for Ian Blease, I think.
Mm.
The rumour is now that Paul Rowley is going to be offered a new deal that will eventually take him upstairs to take Ian Blease's job, the vacant director of rugby job, and bring in a new coach. So that'll be interesting. A lot of Salford fans saying that that's a good idea and that Ryan Briley might be a good coach, not head coach, but maybe sort of
in the interim,
in the player liaison sort of role, because he's an agent, isn't he, Briley? So maybe in sort of maybe a front office role.
Be interesting to see what they do in the immediate if that's the plan. Because would someone take that on if the long term plan is that Riley's going to move upstairs? So it's going to be interesting to see what Salford do. Do you think this leaves Rowan Smith in an interesting position?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
That things were so bad, we've now decided we need a director of rugby.
Yeah. I don't know where it leaves Rowan Smith. Maybe it's a good thing for him, because obviously
could Rowley be linked?
Recruitment's going to be better.
Something was to change.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
They've worked well together.
Ackers and Croft are already
Ackers
there.
and Croft are already there.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
That'd be nightmare situation for Salford.
I've seen a thing today that apparently Blake Austin's come out. He's doing like podcast interviews and stuff all the time now in back in Australia.
He's doing the rounds, isn't he?
Blake Austin, yeah, and he's turned around and I think he's turned around and said the future looks bright for the Salford Rhinos. Or something like that, like trying to insinuation.
He
It's
likes
just
some clickbait.
well, to be fair to him, he's got going to the Salford Rhinos is a bit fair, but they are going to Salford like Ackers, Croft, now the director of rugby. They're taking quite a bit from Salford, eh?
The issue Salford have is obviously the financial side of it, and they haven't got the financial backing to keep the top players up. So Croft came over here because no one in the NRL wanted him. Same as Hastings, and they do 2-3 years. Ultimately, I know they got to a grand final and around that time, the Challenge Cup final, but they didn't win anything. They weren't going to then carry on that level of success. They were a bit of a surprise package in them years. And suddenly, if these players want a gig and a chance at winning the big things, there needs to be that long-term financial support that allows them to build a squad. So there's a reason that they move on, and Leeds were in the looking for a good 6 and a good 9.
Yeah.
So you can't blame anyone involved with that.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll see how that pans out. But yeah, good eye catches there.
Yeah. Right, been a few things on this week. So as the NRL is always around this Origin time, it was a shortened round, just 7 games. Going to fly through some of these. West Tigers against St George, 56 points to 14. It ended up St George winning. They were losing 12 points to 14. Zach Lomax with, I think, 32 or 34 points after his Origin debut.
Yeah.
Backing up.
Yeah. It was really
Massive win for St George.
Parramatta have got a real player with him, haven't they, next year?
Yeah. Yeah. Massive loss for West, and
they've gone backwards. I'm sorry to say, really, but they've gone backwards.
Maybe it's not the coach's fault.
No, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe.
South Sydney got a big win against Gold Coast, 46 points to 12.
That's back-to-back wins for South Sydney now, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they beat Para and now they beat the Gold Coast. Definitely needed on their behalf.
Yeah, build a bit of confidence for him.
Yeah. The Warriors went to North Queensland and won 42 points to 12. Matty, your Eyecatcher was in this game with Dallin.
Yeah, try assist for Dallin, yeah.
Like I said, a team that's needed some wins. They've had a difficult period. The Warriors.
Waz have come through that difficult period and they look good again now. So interesting one that.
Yeah,
the Waz.
They sit out just outside the 8.
Yeah, but they could make a run.
by a point, so they are nowhere near out of this conversation for the 8th. I've just checked, by the way, we've seen Brisbane are down to 8th.
I know, but they were always going to face an uphill struggle to get in because they're not the same team without Adam Reynolds.
No. And if they can make the 8 without him and Reynolds come back, they could win it from anywhere.
Exactly.
And speaking of them, they lost to Cronulla, 22 points to 12.
Tough
Cronulla
game.
needed this win.
Yeah, tough game, tough win for Cronulla.
They needed this win.
They
After
needed
the last couple of results they've had.
Tough win, on the road. Good win this for Cronulla. Tough game.
Now, Melbourne versus Newcastle. Newcastle had an awful result the week before
Yeah, the Bulldogs.
against the Bulldogs. Melbourne won this game 36 points to 28, but Newcastle will be happy with the comeback in the end, I would say, to get close. But half-time...
It was better.
Half-time, they were 18 points to 12 down. They scored first in the first minute to make it 18-16, and Melbourne put... can't do the maths. They had 16 points on in the space of 10 minutes. Tiaki Chan apparently played. I know that's Joe Chan, but this app's brilliant.
Yeah, Joe Chan must have been.
They don't do very well at getting players' names right.
That's good for him, though. He doesn't get many chances, Joe Chan, but he seems
They're very impressed with it.
They are impressed with him, yeah.
They like him, and
whenever
he's doing well in the...
whenever he plays, he impresses, so good for him.
Penrith versus Manly. Penrith win 32 points.
Guys, this game was mad.
Yeah.
There was 2 first half hat tricks, one for each team.
Yeah.
When have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Brian Toto scored a hat trick, and Tommy
Talau
Talau scored a hat trick. Tommy Talau scored 4 tries and lost with 10 points.
He got 16 points for tries.
They only scored 22. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous.
I tell you
Scored
what,
4 tries.
Ruben Garrick missed 4 kicks
Yeah, well, they were
from Tommy Talau.
scoring
But that
4
was
tries
tries,
and you
and
lose.
But
that-
I'll tell you what, that would have took it to 32 points to 22.
No, that's what
If
it was.
he kicked them goals.
That's what score it was.
32 points to 30, sorry.
Oh, okay.
With them kicks, it would have put some real pressure on that game.
Yeah.
Both sides missing plenty of players.
Yeah.
I saw Dane Lowry on 344 running metres.
Dane Laurie was someone we apparently were looking at to replace Bevan French if he decided to leave. Yeah.
Right, and the last game this week, Canterbury versus Parramatta. Canterbury won this game 22 points to 18.
Yeah, that was this morning. They play a game. These two teams always play on what's called the King's birthday.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about this. It's maybe a bank holiday.
Yeah, it is.
The King's birthday is next Saturday, or his royal birthday, whatever it is. It's not his real birthday, but yeah. So they played this on must be a bank holiday before the King's birthday, and Canterbury won.
Doing well this season, Canterbury. Got
Yeah,
a couple of wins together.
They've got a bye next, so they're going to be in the 8, aren't they?
Is
After
that bye lost again?
Well, they've got the bye next, so they'll win that one, get 2 points there, and they'll be sitting pretty. I think they'll be well within the 8 if they can beat the bye.
Imagine losing to the bye.
West nearly did.
Before we just move on for that, Matt Burton's bomb. If you've not seen that, go and watch that.
Oh, Matt Burton's bomb was ridiculous.
Wow.
It comes down with snow on it.
If you give Matt Burton time to kick the bomb like that, and when he puts everyone on side as well when he sprints after it, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
You are asking for trouble. How are you meant to catch that? I don't know. You just got to let it bounce and hope for the best. Hope it kicks on and get a 7 tackle set.
And it was on Guthor. Guthor's good under the high ball, and he can't get anywhere
You could
near
have
it.
14 Guthors and they wouldn't get near this one. Ridiculous. Not even in the same postcode.
Yeah, just unbelievable. Go and watch it. Women's Challenge Cup was on Saturday.
Yes, I was there for most of this.
Yeah, St Helens took on Leeds. Come out 22-0 victory for St Helens. The 4th in a row.
Yeah, I was hoping for a bit more resistance from Leeds. They didn't really turn up. They'll be disappointed, Leeds, because they were a bit loose and they were a bit, they were throwing the ball around too much and they weren't. It wasn't sticking.
Yeah.
But Saints were like machine-like in their win here.
Yeah.
They were really, really good. The Saints women's team is really the benchmark, isn't it, for everyone? And they're going to be tough to stop. They always are.
Right.
And the 1895 Cup as well was on.
The 1895 Cup.
After So loads of Wakefield fans were either already in the Warrington section
I think
or
they moved down, didn't they?
some of them were already in the Warrington section and loads of them moved down. We created a pretty decent number. It was almost as many as the Warrington.
I'm going to say, we drove down and every service we stopped at, and we stopped at 2, didn't we? They were filled with Warrington fans, with Wakefield fans.
I saw a lot of Wakefield.
Wakefield did turn up in numbers.
Yeah.
The Sheffield didn't really. We were the Sheffield fans in our end, and there weren't many of them, but they were passionate. This game was always expected to be one-sided, and it was.
Sheffield made a really good start.
Sheffield scored first, which really put the cat amongst the pigeons, and were attacking the line a second time, and threw an interception to Lachlan Walmsley. And if you've ever seen Lachlan Walmsley run, you're not keeping up with him. He's like the road runner. And he flew in, and the place just erupted, and I thought, right, that's a big swing. Sheffield kicked the kick-off out on the full. Wakefield scored again, and I think, right, so that's gone from Sheffield attacking the line where they should have scored because they had a 3-on-2
to go 12-0 up.
to go 12-0 up to now they've gone 12-6 down in the blink of an eye.
Just momentum killers.
And then they hung on, and just as the hooter went, the ref let them play the ball, and I thought, ooh, we should have blown up there for the half-time whistle. And a scoot from 9 goes in. I thought, you can't just let him score from 9 there. You just got to see out the half. You got to make one solid tackle. And all of a sudden you go in and it's 18-6, and you think, oh, it's too much to claw back.
It's a killer, that.
And it ended up, what did they end up with, 50?
It ended up 50 points to 6.
Yeah.
Wakey, the 5th different winner of this cup since the formation in 2019.
Yeah.
I really like this. It was Wakefield's first trip to Wembley since for 45 years.
No wonder they had so many fans there.
I really like it because it just gives a chance to clubs that haven't been there for a long time to go and feel like they can win something and be involved in rugby league's biggest stadium and on its grandest stage. I feel like it's a real importance, and I like this, and I hope it can keep growing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's everything to talk about in rugby.
Yep.
Been a great weekend.
It has. It's been a good weekend.
And just in case you forgot, Wigan hold all 4 domestic and
International.
I was trying to think of the right word. Yeah, international club honours.
I'm trying to liken this to...
And we forgot about the Locker Cup.
the Locker Cup, of course. Are we still holders of Lancashire Cup?
Possible.
From back in the day, we might be.
I'll check that out.
Floodlit 9s, World 9s, or 7s, or whatever it was that we won. Middlesex 7s, John Player. We've won all of them. I was trying to liken it with a football supporting friend of mine. Said it's probably like the World Club Challenge is a bit like the Champions League. Kind of.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be the champions, or you used to have to be the champions to get into it. There's only 2 teams, but it's a bit like something you do at the end of the season.
Yeah.
If you've done well in the previous season, you get to be in it.
Sorry, we were the last winners of the Lancashire.
Oh, we were the last winners of the Lancashire. I'll bring it back. We'll win it again. Yeah, bring it back. We want another trophy in the cabinet.
Holding Man of Steel.
Greenmount Projects can build us a new trophy cabinet. That'd be a good project for them. Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, and this is obviously the similarities between this and the FA Cup are enormous. So actually, we're having a pretty good season.
You're having a very good season.
If you said a football team had won the Champions League and the FA Cup, and was still near the top of the table, yeah, I've had a pretty good season.
Yeah, very good season.
Long may it continue.
Yeah. Right, that wraps it up, and we'll be back next week after CAS. What are our thoughts, CAS? We've not mentioned it quickly.
Yeah, we'll see you all at CAS.
See you all at CAS. Few rotations maybe this week. Few players celebrating pretty hard.
A few sore heads.
Yeah.
I think the lads that got a week off against Warrington in the league might play, but there'll certainly be a few rested, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I think maybe in the pack might see Heavy Hill come back in. Maybe Tiaki Chan.
Yeah.
People like that. But yeah, and I'll be good to see them get a bit out. I guess I want to see some others get a bit out and see how we go.
Right.
Looking forward to that.
Wraps it up. See you next week. Thank you for listening.
See ya.